If you're watching this video, chances are you're wanting to be able to do this. Now, I don't claim to be the greatest player in the world. There's certainly better than me out there, but I'm certainly more than competent, with over 7 years experience in this game in pretty much every role there is to offer. So, if you're a new player or a returning player and you're looking to improve your game, then this is the video for you. Unlike some content creators out there who just take the marksman kit and wander off into the ether, or build super fobs in the middle of bump nowhere, I'm going to show you the best ways to identify your enemies, the best way to learn the weapon handling, improve your aim, how to work with your squad, and some of the best kits to run right now. Oh, and if you haven't worked it out already, my name's Honcho, and I'm going to teach you how to get good. 3, 2, 1. Before we pick up our weapon, there's a few things we need to go through. First up is your keybinds and settings. Squad has toggle ADS on as default, and I know a lot of people prefer hold, so now is the perfect time to change that. Once you've done that one, you need to go to sensitivity and crank that right down, because for some stupid reason the default sensitivity on squad feels like you are playing at 18,000 DPI. It's ridiculous. But apart from being dumb, playing at a high sensitivity is automatically putting you at a major disadvantage due to the sway and weapon misalignment mechanics. So set this to something that's comfortable. For reference, I'd flick between 800 and 1200 DPI, and I play on 0.2 sensitivity in squad. Oh, and I can't remember if these settings are default or not for sensitivity multipliers, but if they aren't, I would advise pausing the video now and copying these down. Next up, you want to go to Controls, followed by Voice Command. Scroll down until you see Observe, and you want to bind that preferably to a button on your mouse or something you can hit pretty easily. This is so you can place an observation marker down in a flash. I'll get onto why and how later. And finally, on Interface, you want to turn on the compass background. This makes your heading and compass a million times easier to see and read. Once done, you want to save them, because Squad usually resets everything with each and every major update. Now, I can't really give out graphic settings as I'm playing on 4K and I have a 4070 Ti, but again, for reference, here are my graphic settings. Right, moving on. If you're a brand new player or sub 300 hours, or you've been away longer than some of the visitors have spent on Epstein Island, then you need to do the basic infantry training. I know it sounds dull, but there's some really important information in there. For the new players, you need to do the full thing. It'll take about 10 minutes tops, but it goes through movement, loading and unloading a logi, building and using your weapon, and other bits and pieces. But for everybody watching this video, you need to head straight to the troop identification area. Now, unfortunately, despite Turkey being in the game as a 7.0, this hasn't been updated to include the Turkish uniforms. Bit of an oversight, I'm guessing. But all of the other factions are on here. What this gives you are some seriously good visuals to learn how to identify your opponents, from the uniforms, the helmets, to the weaponry and launchers. And this is important for quite a few reasons. Firstly, it's going to help reduce the amount of team kills you will be getting, because as you learn all of these identifiers, you'll know who is friendly and who isn't by recognizing what you're looking at, rather than waiting for the blue or green symbol to pop up. Secondly, to accompany this, because it will become muscle memory, your reaction time to identify will improve, meaning you'll be able to fire earlier, therefore giving you the advantage. And thirdly, you'll be able to give better callouts. Rather than just saying, I see an enemy, you'll be able to give more detailed information. I see an enemy combat engineer running towards where our radio is. Whilst the information is technically the same, the details really highlight the importance of it. Another great way to learn uniforms in a live game is when you manage to drop an enemy. Get one of your buddies to go stand by the downed body, and then take a good look at the colours, pattern and any identifiable feature. It's just like the board above, but you get a more detailed look and it's fresh in your mind for the current game at hand. And finally, when in a live game and you see a silhouette in the distance, but you aren't sure who it is, simply open your map for a second to check. Your teammates always show up on your map, so if there's no blueberries when you're looking at, then that guy you see is an enemy. And chances are, if he's looking at you, he's just as confused as you are. Moving on to weapon control and aiming, as you are probably aware, Squad is extremely unique in the weapon handling department. Everything is very wobbly, extreme, and you feel very weighted and grounded. There are, however, two very big visual indicators that you need to keep an eye on that will really improve your gunplay. The first is your stamina. The minute you start sprinting, your stamina gets used, and you don't have a lot of it. The more stamina you use, the more simulated lactic acid is pumped into your digital veins, which then results in wobbly arms and a good 5 to 10 seconds to regain composure and control. But the way things are currently is anything less than 70% stamina has a huge effect on your weapon handling because of the second factor, and that is the sway and misalignment. This is indicated by these two boxes on your compass. The further apart they are, the less control you have. The closer they are, the better. The fastest way to regen stamina is to stop and crouch. Whilst going prone is faster on the regen, proning out and standing up animations make this take much longer. So this is something that you need to keep half an eye on to have the best possible chance with your weapon. But situation and weapon dependent, it isn't the be all and end all. There's plenty of kits about that you can still hit your targets with next to no stamina if you're skilled enough, but it does rely on a bit of luck as well. This is mainly with the iron sights and hollow sights, which have been tailored more towards CQB engagements, so it kind of makes sense. But as simple as it is, it's purely accuracy via volume. Now this is only because the suppressive aim punch has been ridiculously overtuned. Doing accuracy via volume turns the table in your favour, because you are suppressing the enemy much more than they are suppressing you. And in a lot of instances, it'll get so much that your opponent will simply stop firing at you, therefore giving you complete control of that engagement. Now in these situations, full auto isn't the way to go. You want to be in semi and tap fire at a pretty good rate of speed. If you're a musician, set your click to about 260 BPM. That's a good pace. With an optic though, you have to take a different approach. The faster you fire, the faster you lose your sight picture. A good pace to fire with an optic, believe it or not, is to staying alive by the Bee Gees. I mean, anyone who uses a deagle on Counter-Strike will know what I mean. Regardless of what you are running, when you have full stamina and your sway pips are connected, you can simulate holding your breath to give you a more steady aim for about 4 seconds by holding left shift. I normally aim, wait for everything to line up, and then I'll hit shift to get a perfect headshot on someone. Especially with a marksman rifle, as a headshot from any DMR gives enemies a shortened bleed-out timer. By all means, always go for the headshots, but there's nothing wrong with aiming central mass in squad. Every rifle is a 2-shot central mass kill. When it comes to moving and shooting, irons and hollows again reign supreme, and there are things you can do to really help you. If you know you have someone round the corner from you, don't aim at the edge of the wall. Aim at where you think they are through the wall and then swing round. You want to widen the angle as much as you can so you aren't turning sharply, and when you get about 1/3 through your swing, you want to start pre-firing at the point where you think they are. Remember, try and visualize your target through the wall so as you come round, you're still not aiming at the wall. Pre-firing will start suppressing them, which immediately puts them on the back foot. The same method can be used whilst going upstairs as well. If you have an optic, then you probably want to point fire, and this is its own mini-game in itself. Point fire in squad is certainly unique. It feels like the weapon isn't attached to anything, and it always goes up and to the right. Again, sharp turns have a huge effect on your weapon handling here, and you can find that your gun is staying to one side of the screen or the other, and it won't return to the center unless you move it there yourself. You don't want to fire too fast while point firing in an effort to counter the huge sway and misalignment penalties, but honestly, there's no real meta or trick to learn, it's simply just experience. Which goes down for a lot of this and leads us to the next topic. As I said before, the best way to learn and gain experience is simply by playing. But what if I told you that there's a game mode where you can play against other players? There's no kit restrictions, so they're all available to play with. On top of this, until this game mode reaches a certain threshold, there's no tickets to worry about, so dying and respawning isn't a problem. And this is seeding. The seeding game mode is basically when a squad server is trying to populate from 0 players to 100. And when it gets to about 50 to 60, depending on the server, is when it goes live and it becomes like a mini game of Advanced and Secure. The maps are generally all on small, close quarters focused areas, which have some medium to long sightlines, so it's a great way to try out many different playstyles. But the biggest gain from this will be in your close to short range firefights. You are playing against other players, fighting over an objective, fighting all the obstacles in game. You're just playing a mini version of Squad without vehicles rolling over you every 30 seconds. Two of my favourite seed layers is Sumari, which is a real CQB slugfest where you can vault over walls to get behind the enemy or just take them head on, or work as a group to clear out alley by alley. And my other favourite is Talil, a small Middle Eastern urban environment with a river divide in the middle. It's got everything from CQB to long range sniper angles, and honestly, this has been the main development of my skills since the Infantry combat overhaul was released. Learning when to push, where and when to use grenades, and generally it's aim training without being boring. And speaking of seeding, my squad server Dead on Dismount seeds daily from 6 PM GMT. People of all skill levels are welcome. We've got a fantastic community and admin team that's growing daily, and all footage you see in my videos is recorded on the Dead on Dismount server. Link to the Discord is in the description down below, and I hope to see you all in there. Seeding and Squad is the easiest way to gain experience, and the skills you learn here do work in a live full game, and you can have some banter with those around you whilst you are doing it, all the while of not having the usual stresses of a full live game or wondering where you're getting shot from, which is something else playing the seeding game mode also helps with, because you start getting used to audio cues. Audio in Squad is a lot more important than people think. Not only does each and every weapon type have their own unique sound, which is something you want to quickly pay attention to so you can tell the difference between friendly shooting and enemies, but in close quarter situations you can hear all kinds of audio cues. For example, when someone pulls out their knife, places an emplacement or fortification, unloading supplies from a vehicle, footsteps, and when someone is reloading or bandaging. And those last two can be used to great detail during close quarters fighting. If you're in a bit of a Star Wars stormtrooper fight where you're both missing your shots on each other, sometimes if the other guy is simply round the corner from you and you'll hear them start to bandage or reload, it's worth a push on them, as 9 out of 10 times they will still be in the middle of that animation as you swing round. Although I have used this technique in the past to bait people in behind me. Now when it comes to you having to bandage, here's a few tips. Don't reach for that bandage straight away. You'd be amazed how long it takes for you to bleed out. If you've been hit, either find cover or somewhere safe for a medic to get to you in case you do bleed out. Or if you are confident enough and know it's only 1 or 2 guys, finish the fight and then heal. If you're in a CQB fight with some good cover around and you are worried you're going to get pushed, pull out your grenade and right click to underarm throw it, and do it towards the direction where you last saw the enemies, or where they think you're going to get pushed from, and then retreat back into cover to heal. You would be amazed how many times this can catch people out. Oh, and don't forget to use your smokes, especially if it's a marksman popping at you from range. All you need to do is break line of sight or use it to cover your exit, and you're good. Now when it comes to live games, 9 out of 10 times the game will be random, advanced and secure. As a new player, you want to look for squads that say something like mic required, new player friendly, teamwork, or even new SL, or have objectives in them such as defense. You'll generally have a better time with these squad leaders as they will communicate. Just don't forget to tell them that you are new as well. If no one has been given one, ask for a fire team lead. This will allow you to mark any enemies you see, from infantry to vehicles to emplacements, and the whole team can see these. Remember when I said to bind a button for observe on your mouse? Well, this is where it comes in handy. You could be scoped in and see a vehicle just chilling. Take note if it's tracked or wheeled. Hit your observe button and say to your squad lead, enemy vehicle and observe. You can also check the map and mark it with a proper vehicle marker, unless you then see that it's friendly. But trust me, having people actively using fireteam leads in Squad makes a squad leader's life 10 times easier. When it comes to picking a kit and all you want to do is shoot stuff, honestly, just pick Rifleman. You get to choose between iron sights, hollow sights, or a scoped optic. It's generally all down to personal preference and how you play, but always keep in mind the environment and the plan. If you're on an urban map and you're attacking, you probably want a hollow sight or irons, as chances of going toe to toe with the enemies are pretty high. But say you're on a woodland map with longer angles, then an optic may be better so you can tap people from range before they get close. But as I say, a lot of it is just personal preference. Always stay within at least 50 to 100 meters of your squad unless you have been instructed otherwise. Ape strong together. If you're on defense, under no circumstances should you wander off to the next objective, no matter how bored you get, because this is when your team loses, because the enemy gets the cap that you're supposed to be defending, but now they get it for free. And when that happens, yeah, people will get pretty annoyed with you and your squad for leaving. Whilst there's still a lot you can do for self-gratification in squad, you have to think of the bigger picture and bigger plan. Oh, and if you are a rifleman, you're probably going to get a lot of people coming asking for ammo. Just press 6 on your keyboard and place the ammo bag down when they ask for it. Usually, medics and anti-tank will need it the most. Before I move on to the final segment of this video, here is a few quick-fire tips that will see you through the day. If someone is shooting at you and you're not being suppressed, it's friendly fire. Probably get on the radio and tell them to stop. Unlike Hell Let Loose, you can change kit from an ammo crate, helicopter, or APC. And anywhere that there is an ammo icon, you can rearm. Even from tanks, just so long as there's ammo inside the vehicle. If you change kit from an ammo crate, it costs less ammo points as it saves ammo by not having to restock every item. If you hear a vehicle coming up and you're in an open position, go prone, press Q or E to side lean, and then press your free look button and look at the floor. And don't move till that vehicle has passed. Playing dead can be very effective. You cannot overrun an enemy hab on your own. It takes 2 people at 20 meters, 3 people at 30 meters, 4 people at 40 meters, and this goes all the way up to a maximum of 9 people at 90 meters. If you shoot a light vehicle in the engine bay or logistics truck, it will immobilize it. If you keep shooting it in the engine, you will eventually destroy it. Okay, so we've covered the basics and given you pretty much all you need to be able to be effective in a firefight and squad, so here's a few kits that you really need to try out. For iron sights, the absolute top of the top for me comes in the shape of the AK-74, and not far behind is the VDV's AK-12 and Militia's AKS-74U with the banana mag. The handling on these is by far the best in all of Squad's weapons right now. During the ICO, the AK platform was probably worked on the most, along with the M4 and M16s, but you can be aggressive with them. Moving and shooting is very achievable with these weapons, as they are least affected by the horrendous mechanic that is the so-called clear sight mechanic. A mechanic that pretty much everyone during the playtest asked to either have it on a key binding or just remove it. So it means you don't have to worry about broken stupid mechanics whilst you are pushing enemies who are attacking or defending. You can concentrate on the fight itself and hitting your target. But not only is it good at close range, these are pretty good to up to 200-300 meters. Oh, and Baron, if you're watching this and subsequently ruin these guns because I pointed out that they're good fun to use, I will literally uninstall Squad on the spot. For hollows, they're all pretty damn good if I'm honest. The M4A1 and the AK-12 again are probably the absolute top for me. The Aussie and Canadian ones are also very good, but the biggest shocker will be the PLA's QBZ-95 and the Middle Eastern Alliance G3A4K. Man, I love these ones. If you see them, just give them a go. They're a bit quirky, but they slap. And to round off with optics, the Marines M16 with the ACOG, Irregular Militia's M16 with the 3x, and the Australian Elcan, simply because you can flip that between a 4x and a 1x. All of these handle absolutely fantastically for mid-range fights, where you want to just simply click heads. But I'll be honest, every faction's optic is very, very nice to use. I'd probably say the worst is the Brits. There's just something not right with them. But all of these kits I just mentioned are just my personal favourites. And keep in mind, pre-ICO, I would only ever use optics in every situation. And that's it. I know there's a lot to take in with this video, and it's definitely one of my longer ones, but I couldn't make it any shorter. I hope you all enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe for more squad guides, gameplay and updates. Also, if you want to get some drip, link to my merch is in the description as well. If you have any tips, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I love reading them, and I'll do my very best to reply. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in my next video, stream, or in my server. Good night.
Command, please, 3 seconds.